Mon. I'm adding them right now.
That's not baked into your stream deck.
It wouldn't be a Friday episode without some shit going down. All right, let's. I'm not still muted. I could see it on my audio meter. Anyway, all right, everybody. Welcome to today's News Tonight, episode 144. Sorry about that. Like, every time I do something to my computer decides to just blatantly screw with OBS. Anyway, if you don't know, today's News Tonight is a weeknight news show where we are joined by guests and our lovely patrons to discuss today's gaming news. We do this every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right here on YouTube at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. You know that since you're here. But if you're listening on podcast services around the globe, we're available there too. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. As you notice, it's just the core GVG crew. You can see myself, Ash, Derek, Daniel down in the lower left, and off camera, but still representing the voice of God as always, our good friend, Brandon Miracle. How's it going, everyone? We have one very specific topic we are going to be discussing. I'm lucky I'm here. Look, my Switch is right here. I've been playing it. Trust me, when everybody joined this call, they could hear Metroid Dread coming through loud and clear. We're going to be talking a lot about Metroid Dread in this episode. It will be spoiler free, so don't worry about that. We're not gonna ruin your day. The game just came out. Oh my god. Are you?
I heard everyone else except Steve earlier.
That's what I
had
thought, too.
Explicitly said it to voice mirror. I don't know what to say about this. I don't know what to say about this. Anyway, folks, all right. Sorry about that.
Boy.
Everyone's here. Everyone's played Dread just a little bit, but we're not going to go into spoilers. We're not going to ruin anything for you. It's going to be a fun episode. You might notice that there's a new thing going on the screen over here. And that is my answer to Super Chat. So right now, we've heard you loud and clear. We've heard that we've heard the show. We've heard your comments today's Super Chats tonight. We've heard GVG does nothing but read Super Chats for a half hour before the show starts, and we agree with you. We understand.
Yes.
We know that it can break up the pacing of the show. So how do we fix that? How do we compromise? This is my first attempt at an answer, our first attempt at an answer to that. We are not going to read every super chat for this episode. Instead, every super chat will get its own screen time, again, like over here, up here. Yeah, they look like that. And so if you donate at any level, you'll see it on screen. We are going to pick out the ones that we want to highlight, or the ones that are, pertinent to whatever it is we're talking about on the episode. And we do have 5 full stories for you today, though we're going to push through the first 4 because that 5th one is a doozy, and I think we all want to talk about it. But before we get there, I do want to take just a minute. We don't have a sponsor for this episode. If you'd like to find out more about how you could sponsor today's News Tonight, head over to patreon.com/gvgaming. We've got 1 slot open at that limited tier. But you might notice that Ash and I are matching today.
Yes.
And for those of you that don't know, we're rocking Safe in Our World t-shirts. Safe in Our World is a wonderful charity that focuses on mental health awareness as it pertains to gaming. So, mental health is a really important thing. I will be the first to tell you that, I struggle with my mental health. I know Ash does too. We're both very open about that fact, and there's nothing wrong about that. Feelings should be manageable and mentionable, and Safe in Our World does great work in that area, and today is their 2nd anniversary. So I just wanted to shout them out and say, thank you guys so much for all you do.
Hell yeah.
Congrats on keeping this going 2 years. GVG is proud to be a partner of Safe in Our World, and we hope that there are many, many more years to come. You guys keep doing what you're doing. Keep kicking ass. We love all of you so much. And thank you for choosing us to be your partners. We are more than honored to be among the great people that help lift this charity up.
Absolutely. And if you want to find out more about them, head over to safeinourworld.org. They really are
Yes.
a fantastic organization, and they specialize in mental health outreach and support, not just for gamers, people who play games, but also the people who make them and cover them. It's for all sides of the industry. It really is fantastic.
Absolutely. One final thing before we get there. We crossed 69,000 subs. We're at an all-new high. Also, just nice.
Hell yeah.
But,
nice.
I don't have this on the docket, but I did want to talk a little bit about one of these. And not actually specifically this one, but I got my Switch OLED today. I'm very excited. Thank you, Nintendo, for sending one of these over for me to check out. There will be a full review on it in the coming days. But let me walk off screen for just a second.
Oh man.
There he goes.
Colors.
I didn't just get one of these. Right here. We have
man.
it in our hands, and it's
the
waiting
one.
for you. Do you want a free Switch OLED? Because when we get to 75,000 subscribers, the very unit that I'm holding in my hands will be mailed to someone. And all you got to do is be subscribed to the channel. Don't let this sit in my house for too long. I really want to give it to somebody. So if you're not subscribed, please go subscribe. All you got to do is be a subscriber, and we will give this to just some lucky person out there. So I hope you win it. It's sitting here waiting for you, whoever you are. Your destiny is literally in my hands. So
Yeah, Steve, technically, I'm subbed to GVG through my personal YouTube account.
I am too, actually. So
Oh my. So luck of the draw.
am
I just went out and bought one.
Don't worry, GVG employees and co-founders are not eligible to win a free Switch OLED from GVG. We will be giving this to somebody.
Oh yeah, Ed Miller saying, please sign it.
That'd be cool.
You know what? Absolutely. I will promise you.
The box, not the Switch.
Yeah, I'm not going to open it, but I promise you that it'll come autographed. If that's what you guys would like, whoever wins it, if you want an autograph on it, if you want an autograph from all three of us on it, I will ship this thing across the country twice.
We'll ship it around together. Yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah, to make sure you get it the way you want it. And that giveaway is eligible to anybody anywhere. We'll ship it to you wherever you want to go, or wherever you live. So if you live in Europe, because I know there's quite a few folks on the other side of the pond, you live anywhere in the world, we'll make sure you get it if you're the winner of our giveaway. So when we hit 75,000 subs, that OLED is ready to go. We're just waiting to give it away.
And if you're already subbed, don't worry. That means you're already entered. I've seen a little confusion about that. If you're already subbed, you're already entered. Don't worry.
If you are subbed at the time that we hit 75,000, you're in. If you're subbed now, whether you subbed back when John had the channel a long time ago, doesn't matter. We love all of you, no matter when you chose to support us. So go out there. If you aren't subbed yet, sub. I mean, it's free, and you could win a Switch. Anyway, with all of that out of the way, I do have a couple super chats I'd like to highlight. Our good friend Jaden Buck with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. I know that it showed on screen already, but this has become something of a Friday tradition here at TNT. So Jaden Buck says, Crazy Question Fridays, crazy question number 11. If the four of you were to fight each other in real life, no weapons, no protection, and you're in a plain open field, who would win? And I'm going to go with Daniel. Because I walked around Seattle with this man, and his physical fitness is second to none. He would kick my ass.
Yep. I was going to say the same thing for the same reason. Daniel and Brandon's wife, Michaela, and I all went to go get cookies one night at PAX West, and we had to go like 8 straight blocks up like this kind of incline. And Michaela and I were just like living our worst lives and miserable. Meanwhile, Daniel over here is like, hey guys, you doing all right? Hey, come on, let's go get some cookies. How's it going, guys? Come on. He was just spry as fuck and just
quite a
super in
generalization.
shape. So
Make me
I
sound like
agree
an
with you, Steve.
asshole
It
over
is-
here.
It would
not. It is
probably
Daniel.
be Daniel.
I think
But
it's Daniel.
I will say that my partner can beat you up. Amy took karate and stuff, so I will offer up. I don't want to fight, but go my stand, Amy Belaine.
My stand.
Oh,
You
man.
have no
Shenmue
idea what I'm
Susato
capable
takedown.
of.
Oh, wow.
No, I don't.
This is getting scary.
Shadow Hermit says I would win because I'm invisible.
Well,
Well,
You know
he's
what?
God.
That's fair.
that's
Fair
true.
enough.
That is
Fair
true.
The eye in the sky tends to win no matter what. So I did want to call out one other one before we move on to the news. Stefan DeLint Wouters. This came in before the show even started with a €5 super chat. Said, I got my Switch OLED today and love it. Big upgrade from Switch Lite. Also love the black/white color, which goes perfect with my Smash Pro controller. Yeah, I gotta say,
nice.
wow, coming from a Lite, it's probably a massive, massive upgrade. But I do have to say, just going from the, normal Switch we all have to this thing, the OLED feels a lot more premium. It's a really, really impressive package. So, go subscribe and win one. Anyway.
Steve, you mind if I read one more out just because it's good vibes? I want to congratulate someone.
Sure.
Jacob Ward with $9.99 saying, hey, GVG, I'm getting married next month, and I'm making a playlist of game music to play during dinner. Any recommendations? I posted in the Discord. Thanks, GV Gang, but would love to get your input. Just wanted to say congratulations to you, Jacob. That's awesome.
Yeah,
And
congratulations.
I had a really cool Chrono Trigger remix at my wedding, which I could totally recommend to you if you're a Chrono Trigger fan. The Smash Brothers Ultimate menu theme also works as a cool marching band type theme to walk into. So there are a lot of cool things you could do. But anyway, just wanted to say congratulations. Don't want to hold up the news too much longer. Just wanted to say that.
Make sure you all dance. Make sure you all dance to Jump Up Superstar.
Hell yeah!
At some point.
Oh, that would be
Nice.
cool. I
love
like
it.
that.
There you go.
All right. Well, I did find inadvertently the perfect segue. If you were listening to Ash's feed, you might have heard some sirens. And that feels like an appropriate way to bring up this first news story. Coming by way of IGN, Grand Theft Auto The Trilogy, the definitive edition, has finally been officially announced. We talked about this on a previous episode of TNT. Rockstar, it's the worst kept secret in the industry right now. This is leaked from Korean ratings boards. Logos have popped up online for this thing that are official Rockstar logos. And it seems like all of the rumors were true. So we basically have the first, well, not the first three, right? The first three 3D Grand Theft Auto games. So GTA 3.
The GTA 3
Vice
trilogy. That's really what it should be called.
Yeah. GTA 3, GTA Vice City, and GTA San Andreas. And the thing I really find exciting about this is it's coming to PS5, it's coming to Xbox Series, it's coming to PC, but it's also coming to Switch. And I'll have to wait to see it. But the other exciting thing is that this is all coming this year. So it's, we don't have long to wait before these games are out. And I'm personally, I don't really love GTA San Andreas, but Vice City is 1000% one of my favorite open world.
If they maintain that soundtrack, that's the big question: is how much they kept of the soundtracks.
I'm actually most interested. Oh, go ahead, Steve.
Oh no, I was gonna say, I'm with Derek. They had one of the best licensed soundtracks ever in a game in Vice City, and it's just a bunch of 80s rock and pop, and it is so incredibly good. I do have to wonder if they're going to include a streamer mode like most modern games do. So that
Guardians of the Galaxy's doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, there is an option to just not have music.
That's true too, but
right.
Man, I will say though, the music is kind of what makes that game for me.
True.
Yeah. I like that, and I like the talk radio tracks. I don't know how well they've aged, to be fair. I know they were really funny back then. I don't know if they're still really funny, but I remember really enjoying a lot of the talk radio. And it's funny. I'm not a big GTA guy anyway. You all know that, but I kind of bounced off Vice City actually, and it's more GTA 3 that I'm more interested in going back to just revisit a little bit. I don't see myself playing all three of these games in depth at all, but GTA 3 was definitely pretty revolutionary at the time, but I don't find that I remember all that much of it.
It's funny how much I do remember, because quite a bit of it. And how limited it was, because it was a big deal as you went through this trilogy, getting features that you wish were there the entire time. Like, your protagonist does not talk in GTA 3. Your protagonist does not swim. There are no motorcycles. There are no planes. It's very limited. You got all the games, all the side quests, like you can do taxi runs and hospital runs and stuff like that. But I think it'd be eye-opening just how much is not there when you play this game.
Oh yeah, game design has moved forward in a big way since GTA 3, and a lot of people don't think about it just because it's been happening at kind of like a slower pace. It's like when you look, like you look at yourself and you look at you look at yourself through the years and you don't realize the gradual changes that happen in your appearance, but if you go back and look at a picture from a year ago, you're like, oh God, like I've changed so much. And it's kind of like that with game design. Like you think about GTA like 5, right? And you think like, oh, what are the new things GTA 5 did? And you're like, oh, you can change characters. That's it. Otherwise it's a GTA game. But if you go back, like you said, Derek, and you play 3, it is wild how limited that game is in comparison. So I'll be interested to see these. But other than that,
great voice cast though.
Oh yeah, like you've got Ray Liotta, Burt Reynolds, actual celebrities in this. And that's what I find amazing, that they were able to re-release this, because they probably had to renegotiate to even use those previously recorded clips from those folks.
Right. And as Late Night Sprites points out in our live audience chat, the talk radio apparently, and I don't remember this, but apparently the humor used slurs that are certainly a tad outdated now. And so I wonder how that'll, if that'll land differently today.
I mean, here's the thing is, I think they can get away with it as long as they do a very important thing that Warner Brothers does with their like wartime cartoons for the Looney Tunes, which is have a thing there is like, just disclaim that like this was a product of its time. It is, our views don't necessarily agree with or line up with this at all at this point, but this was the original vision. This is of its time. Please be aware, and maybe have an option to not have that stuff on.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
you can go through and decide which channels, like you want to have a, not so great one.
I will say I could be wrong, but I don't remember slurs outright being used, like something that would be defined as a slur. I remember some very offensive caricatures, but I don't remember like racial slurs being used in game, in terms of like on the talk radio, I could be wrong about that though. It's been a long time.
I just wanted to point out, Belaim in our YouTube chat said, I also love the Rickroll song. I was looking at the Guardians of the Galaxy playlist earlier today. The Rickroll, Never Gonna Give You Up, is in Guardians of the Galaxy. That's one of that game's. Yeah, that's one of that game's playlist songs for Star-Lord.
Oh my gosh. She unironically loves that song. So people were trying to figure out what her stand name would be and like what's her favorite song. And so, yeah, she's going to Rickroll you.
But my favorite thing about that song is how unintentionally similar it is to Robo's theme in Chrono Trigger. You can like lay the two on top of each other and they sync up perfectly. It's
God, yeah.
They inspired each other.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't think we have a lot more to talk about with.
I mean, we don't even know exactly what kind of features they're going to have. They said there's going to be coming more as the weeks go by. So this is just like, hey, it's here.
Yeah, I'm really curious to find out what they're going to do to update these games, because they mentioned like upgraded graphics, and I think we can all kind of figure out what some of that'll be, like improved character models and stuff like that. But on the Switch front, I'm really curious to see, because I hope that they don't pull what a lot of publishers do and say like, oh, it's remastered, but on the Switch we just get like up-resed PS2 ports, and everyone else gets like a full ground up remake or something. I hope it's not that. I hope we get something that's a little more in line with, the Switch isn't so underpowered that it can't handle a remake of a 20-year-old video game, but we'll see.
A PS2 game.
Yeah, exactly.
It has LA Noire. It should be fine.
Exactly. Like LA Noire initially ran kind of crappy on the Switch, but they updated it till where it was serviceable, and that's a PS3 game. So I think we should be okay there to get some updated visuals on the Switch version. Anyway, to transition, because I want to move through these news stories because I think we all are itching to talk about Metroid. But I'm going to read this super chat because it serves as a perfect segue into it. Bongo Lover with a Canadian $5 super chat says, now that Nagoshi is leaving, I can finally lead Ryuga Gotoku Studio to work on a Yakuza like a Danimal. Ichibong will be facing the Activia Alliance, which I love your commitment to the bit, man. I really do.
100% respect. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right. With that in mind, let me go ahead and get this next one on screen. And as Bongo Lover kind of outright stated, and we reported previously, I want to say a couple weeks back, Toshihiro Nagoshi, who was the studio head for Ryuga Gotoku Studio, colloquially known as RGG Studio, the folks behind Yakuza and Judgment, is leaving. The rumor that came out, I believe, said he was heading to NetEase. And while he obviously doesn't confirm where he's headed, he just mentions that he is departing Sega. This is, at this point, not really a surprise because, like I said, we have previous reporting that kind of implied that this was happening. But what is interesting, and I don't know that it's a curious way to announce it, but they just said like, hey, also Yakuza Like a Dragon's getting a sequel, like in this announcement that he's leaving.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they like outright confirmed that it's continuing Kasuga's story, which thank God, hell yes. I'm so happy to hear that. But it is such a weird way to announce not only the fact that a sequel's coming, but the fact that it's going to be another Ichiban game. Like that's just so, what a weird way to announce it.
Yeah.
Maybe to kind of take away the sting, perhaps.
That's exactly
Maybe,
what I'm thinking.
Yeah. I mean, how appropriate that the two games that this guy's most well known for got a release both in September before he left. Well, like not in Monkey Ball's case, but got a new Super Monkey Ball and got a new Yakuza-esque game thanks to Lost Judgment, and boom, he's out. It's like,
yeah, it definitely
has
a vibe of like he's just wrapping up his affairs before he leaves. He's like, yep, I'm going to get a Yakuza out the door. I'm going to get a Judgment sequel out the door. I'm going to get a Monkey Ball out the door. And now I'm out the door.
I'm going to miss both of them. I'm going to, they clearly have had an incredible influence on both, Yakuza. I mean, a huge influence on Yakuza, but also in so doing, a significant one on Sega at large. And that's not to say that those left behind can't continue on their work. I have trust and faith that they will, but I'm still going to miss them. It's definitely the end of something of an era, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, real quick, we have a piece of breaking news. We just had Jared Helder join brand new to our Patreon at our live audience tier. So welcome, Jared. I hope you found your way into the Discord.
Hey.
And I hope you enjoy your stay. You'll also get access to the post show, which is great because we are probably going to continue to talk about Metroid into the post show. But anyway,
No doubt.
I thought this was deeply interesting to see it happen this way. I feel bad because they show the pic, they took one last group photo, right, which is really nice to see everybody together, and then you see I've talked about this on the show before, but Nagoshi looks exactly like the kind of person who would be making games about the Yakuza. Like he looks kind of like a Yakuza himself, short cut hair, pencil thin eyebrows, kind of a menacing expression that he wears. And I'm like, yeah, this guy looks like the people he makes in his games. And the new head, I can't remember his name right now, but the new head of the studio is clearly not as deep into the Yakuza lore as...
Well, that's the thing is that, remember, this happened over some time for
he didn't
for Nagoshi, because if you look at him during his Super Monkey Ball days, he does not look like he'd be part of the Yakuza. This is him getting into the life. We might see him start sporting a fro and whatnot and just matching Ichiban.
That would be amazing if he just continued. What would be even more amazing is if the day after he leaves Sega, he just looks like he's working on Monkey Ball again. He's like, yeah, I'm not about that life anymore. I had to get out. I thought it was, I thought it was definitely an interesting, announcement. I think that the studio will be fine. We talked about this before. I gave my opinion on it before, so I won't belabor the point, but I feel like, studios aren't one person, right? As much as Thank You Sakurai is a thing, we all know that Smash wasn't just made by Sakurai. He's definitely the face of it, but he wasn't the only person that made it. A ton of brilliant people worked together on that. Same goes for every game, every single game. It's teams upon teams of brilliant people. Kojima doesn't make his games by himself. Miyamoto doesn't make his games by himself. And so, my hope is that, Nagoshi seems like a very, he cares a lot about what he creates. And I don't think he would ever just up and leave and not leave his team prepared to handle, set up for success when he takes off. So it really
is. It's a show of leadership because these people that have come out as leaders can definitely leave an impression. They can motivate people. They can make it happen. Obviously the resurrection of Final Fantasy XIV was not just because of Yoshida. He was able to motivate the team and get them going, but my God, if it wasn't for him, I don't think anybody else could have stepped up and done it. So there is that aspect of like, yeah, it's not just a team, but these guys can motivate like nobody's business. And hopefully whoever the person taking over from Nagoshi can motivate in the same way. He prepared them in some way and make it happen. It's been it's been done before. This is not a death knell. And
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I just have a feeling like Yakuza's going to be fine.
Yeah, I do love this comment from Bongo Lover about this. He says, if Nagoshi leaves, does his pinky go too?
Oh god.
I just imagine him like turning in his resignation and holding a knife over his pinky like a taunt.
Right.
They're trying to tell him, they're like, this is Sega. This is Sega. Don't do that.
You don't have to do it. It's okay.
You don't have to do it. We just make video games. Calm down. You know what? You're fired. Get out.
Oh,
But
man.
he does. Bongo Lover does shed some interesting light on this whole situation. He mentions that Nagoshi was not involved with Lost Judgment.
Oh.
That was entirely the new team. And if that's the case, I can tell you that the team's in great hands because Lost Judgment
Really fine.
slaps. It is so good.
Nice.
It'll be interesting to see then, because Lost Judgment is obviously more of an action game, like an action brawler. It'll be interesting to see how they handle Yakuza 8 then, in terms of it being, now we know it's a continuation of Ichiban's story and presumably another turn-based JRPG style game. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle that versus something like Lost Judgment. Not saying or suggesting that I don't think they can. I'm just curious to see how it goes.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that it'll be interesting to see the future of the studio, but I'm confident, especially now knowing Lost Judgment, because Lost Judgment is so good. Lost Judgment is the only thing I don't like about Lost Judgment is the skateboard. I don't know if any of y'all have played it, but the skateboard I don't like it. But that is
I want to play it. It's something I just don't have time to get around to, but I want to. Mainly because, well, not mainly. There are a lot of reasons I want to play it, but I really want the dog partner. I want the dog partner. You get a dog, and it's awesome.
It is it's such a good game. But anyway, I could talk about RGG Studio quite a bit. It'll devolve into a Lost Judgment discussion if I keep going, trust me. But this next news story, before we move to the next news story, I do want to read this one super chat. I don't know if it popped up on screen. I didn't see it. But this one comes from Game Liking with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. And he says, oh, there we go. One of the 5 people who listen to the re-uploads on Spotify. Finally caught you live. Been following you since Smash 4 Pick of the Days. Really helps me get through third shifts. Thank you for being you. Well, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for being you. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And for hanging out with us. It's an honor to have you here. I'm glad you were able to catch us live, and thanks for watching. Yeah, means a lot. Trust me, means a lot. We're trying our best here. But anyway, from going to talking about RGG games, I'd like to just take a quick moment, if you'll indulge me, if you will, to talk about the game that I feel inspired all of their work. Let me go ahead and throw that one up on screen.
Definitely.
Shenmue is getting an anime, finally.
Nice.
And I can't believe it. So the anime was announced a while ago, but it got a trailer. And I have to tell y'all, this anime looks so good.
This looks better than the game.
Yeah,
I'll tell you right now.
Yeah.
This looks way better than the game.
Well, I
Like,
remember
yeah.
I remember sitting on the floor playing Shenmue 1 in 1999 with my brother, and we were playing it, and I was like, dude, this is totally some seinen anime shit. Like, this is absolutely, like, this would make such a good manga. Like, I was like, why didn't they just release this as a manga? And of course, you know, that has been now like a 25-year epic that we've been waiting for Sega to wrap up this story. Well, Yu Suzuki to wrap up this story. And if you don't know, and I feel like if you wanted to play Shenmue 3, you've already played it. So I'm going to give you the tiniest of spoilers about Shenmue 3. It doesn't resolve anything. Nothing. It leaves you on a cliffhanger after 18 years of waiting for them to just move the story forward. Shenmue 3 does almost nothing to continue the story.
Right.
Like, from a narrative perspective, you are no better off when the game ends than when it started.
Why'd they even make the game if they weren't going to progress the plot?
Yeah, it literally leaves on the same exact cliffhanger as our Doodle says in our patron chat as Shenmue 2. Like you're still in the same boat that you were at the end of Shenmue 2. So after beating it, I was immensely frustrated. I love that the game exists. I was happy to play it, but I was like, please just give me some new story. Like, that's what I'm here for. I want to know what happens to Ryo. I want to know if he ever avenges his father. Like, I just need to know. It's been 20 years. And fortunately...
Is there some kind of grand conspiracy? Because I can tell you, yeah, he's going to avenge his father, but is there any other greater narrative to answer?
There is.
Like, a conspiracy? Because...
There's like, so Londi, the man who kills your father in the very beginning, you still have no clue why the hell he did that. Like, you're trying to unravel what your father was mixed up in that caused someone to show up and murder him in his house. You're trying to, like, there's a secret, like, society.
He tried to leave RGG Studio.
Yeah.
This is you're fired.
Exactly. So it is just such a weird thing to see, but I will say, one, the animation for this game looks stellar. Apparently it's a Crunchyroll and Cartoon Network Adult Swim exclusive. I don't understand that at all, but I will be watching it. You can see a bunch of clips that clearly take place during Shenmue 1 and 2 in the trailer that they showed.
Oh, nice.
Ryo is way more badass in the anime.
Oh, he has like
the
the
game.
meanest look on his face.
Definitely. He looks way cooler here.
And he's fighting with, they show Chai, who, if you've never seen Chai from Shenmue, he is disgusting. He's like bald and liver spotted and has like 4 teeth and they're all rotten. And like in the game, and he's a hunchback. Like in the anime, they somehow make him look cool, even though he is still gross. And there's a moment that is just like chilling. Like Chai jumps in for an attack and Ryo just like punches at him, and Chai has this look on his face like if he had taken that punch it would have gone right through his face. Like it is such a, like, it's well animated, it looks really good, and they promise that the story will continue past what Shenmue 3 showed us.
Oh, dude. Oh, wow.
So
okay, that's what I was going to ask. I was like, is there a ceiling here in terms of height? Because apparently not. If they've already promised that, then my concern was going to be that there was kind of maybe an upper limit to this show's potential because they weren't going to go past 3. But now that you said that, that's awesome. And honestly, I would rather relive the story through this and just get Shenmue 3 and the rest of 2's story. I never finished 2 through this than go back and play them. So This looks great. This really, really does look great. I just, I am going to miss, in his own way, I'm going to miss Ryo's English game voice because it's just so weird and goofy and awkward. I'm gonna miss like really, really choice dialogue. Like, did you see a black car driving here the day the snow turned to rain? Like,
do you know where I can find any sailors nearby?
Have you seen any sailors? Yeah, it's so weird. But I think it's cool that we're gonna get a version of Shenmue that isn't flanked by that really awkward element and just a badass action anime with a cool story. I'm in for this. I think it looks great.
Yeah, it is honestly probably going to be... I hope that they just wrap up the story. That's really what I want. I want them to let us know what happens to Ryo. I would be really happy if we got, a game that helped this. I like the Shenmue series. I truly hope there's a Shenmue 4. But if this is how I have to get the story, I'm really happy that at least it's a really good looking anime. Because I will watch the hell out of this. I'll review this anime right here on GVG. I promise you when it comes out. But yeah, stay tuned for more on that. I'm definitely excited to see what Cartoon Network and Crunchyroll have in store for us. Kane Woolley thought I said Shaq Fu was getting an anime, which I gotta admit, I'd also watch that.
Also,
I would watch that. Hell yes, I would.
I could see Adult Swim doing that easily.
Yeah. Speaking on trailers real quick, just because I have to mention it. If you're not subscribed to our live audience tier, you probably should, because on the post show, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Dragon Ball Super Superhero trailer that came out.
Oh god, yeah, we definitely have to.
Yeah, I don't have time to fit it into the show proper, but we will be talking about it right after this at about 5:15, about a half hour from now. Anyway, before we move on to the top story of tonight, let me go ahead and get this one out of the way. This one's a little interesting. There's a lot in this article that I probably want to mention, so I'm just going to throw it up on screen without context and we'll talk about it right now. So Nintendo did another, I believe they call it now Ask the Developers, which is essentially like the spiritual successor to Iwata Asks. And this one was focused on the Switch OLED model. And an interesting quote came from this. They asked, another major characteristic of Nintendo Switch is the Joy-Con controllers. A big part of the user experience comes from the Joy-Con, but were there any improvements? And surprisingly, we've heard in official PR communications over and over again that they're the same Joy-Con. They aren't. So Mr. Yamashita from Nintendo says Joy-Con controllers have lots of different features, so we've been continuing to make improvements that may not always be visible. Among others, the analog stick parts have continuously been improved since launch, and we are still working on improvements. He says the parts of the Joy-Con analog sticks are not something that can be bought off the shelf, but are specially designed, so we have undergone a lot of considerations to improve them. In addition, we improved the reliability test itself, and we have continued to make changes to improve durability and clear this new test. When the effects of our improvements were confirmed, we promptly incorporated them into the Joy-Con controllers that are included with the console, Nintendo Switch Lite, and the ones sold individually that were manufactured at that time. This involves the internal components of the Joy-Con, so you can't tell the improvements from the outside, but we use the new versions of the parts when we repair them. Also, similar continual improvements have been made for the Nintendo Switch Pro controller as well. That's kind of a lot to digest, but in a real roundabout way, Nintendo is kind of saying like, yeah, we know that Joy-Con drift is a thing, and we have been quietly working to fix it. And if you buy new Joy-Con or you get yours repaired, we're going to slip those improvements into your Joy-Con. So that's pretty interesting, way of doing it, because Nintendo has been kind of silent on this issue. Like, they've been like, oh yeah, well, if you send them in, we'll fix them, but we're not going to say they drift. And oh, we're going to say that we improve them all the time, but we're not going to say they drift. And
right.
Nintendo has this weird like aversion to just admitting that there's some kind of issue. And I get it. Like, there's probably like some lawyer somewhere in the company is probably like, do not say that.
Yeah, never admit to anything.
Yeah,
right.
Never admit
exactly.
that there's a defect in your product, because people will sue you. And I get it. I mean, it's good to know that they're changing them, but I do feel like with as prevalent of an issue as it appears to be, and I was saying this before the show, I have never had drift happen, but I also own like literally probably 20 pairs of Joy-Con. So I just switch them out maybe too frequently. But my Pro controller, has never had an issue, and I hear very few people complain about Pro controller drift. But I feel like the right thing to do would just be to own up and say like, hey, we know that this happens to some people, or a small percentage, or however you want to couch it to make it sound good for you still. But like, hey, if you're having this problem, we'll take care of you. We got you. Because Nintendo honestly has pretty legendary customer service. Like, I've never had an issue when I actually call them and I'm like, hey, this sucks, I'm having a bad time. Nintendo always fixes it. And I gotta say, like, it just feels antithetical to how good their customer service is to not just admit it and take the hit and let people, set up a exchange program or something.
Yep.
It is very strange. I mean, considering this is the same company that had the ambassador program for the 3DS, with the GBA games and everything, when, that launch kind of fell flat. And I agree with you, Steve. Like, they've really always been well known for kind of going out of their way, I would say, to the extent that they reasonably can, to have good customer support. And I've been lucky enough that really none of my Nintendo products that I can think of have ever really needed to be fixed. I've been very lucky on that front. I've never really had to send my console in for repair, for a Nintendo console at least. And so I've been lucky on that front. But it is strange that they have been so stubborn and not just, I know they can't outright admit it because of the legal repercussions, but as you said, just establish some sort of program, some sort of mea culpa, because obviously this is happening. It's happening a lot, to the point where they're willing to admit it in a roundabout way in this Ask the Developers interview. It's all very strange. It's a weird way to handle it, but I guess at least they're kind of admitting it in a sort of roundabout way. Progress a little bit.
Yeah.
Kinda.
It's
Yeah,
something.
it is.
It's just kind of cool that they have been working on it. This doesn't really, like, I've made a point not to use Joy-Cons unless I'm actually in handheld mode. Otherwise, I'm using my Pro controller. So And thankfully, the Smash Pro controller has been working pretty well for me since I got it. No real issues.
I had
That
to
thing is
weigh
so
getting
nice.
those Zelda Joy-Cons because, like, those are really nice, and I don't want to buy them and have them fail. So I hope that these updates have applied to those too. That said, I haven't had any issues.
I have to imagine that they did, because I mean, the Switch OLED had to be in development for how long? Like probably at least a year before they even announced it. So I feel like those silent Joy-Con revisions that have been going on probably apply to most recently released Joy-Con. One thing that I did find really interesting is in that article, there's a whole other bunch of little things buried that Nintendo didn't talk about with the Switch OLED model at all. Like dumb things, but interestingly small things. For instance, one of the things they mentioned, this is the Joy-Con grip that came with the Switch OLED that I got today. And on the pupper grip, they engraved the logo on instead of it just being silk screened on like before. Like they go out of their way to say that. They're like, we engraved it on the Joy-Con grip now. And I felt it, and it's a little tiny bit recessed. It's just a weird detail. They also released new revisions of like the HDMI cable and charger to make them easier to bend. I was like, this is all just kind of weird stuff you guys did, but all right.
Yeah.
So,
I mentioned this to you earlier,
Not
Steve.
bad
I
thing.
just love. I just kind of want to get the dock, but for now, like I do want to get an OLED model eventually. Anyway, I want to get an Xbox Series X first, so that's a little ways off. But man, that dock alone, it's just so aesthetically pleasing compared. And not that the original dock's ugly, but it's just very plain and nondescript. This new one, it's hot. It's hot.
I wish
like
I could show it, but I stood my PS5 back up to make room for it, and it's hiding back there now.
It's there.
Yeah, my PS5 is
It's shy.
the only big white plastic thing on my desk. But yeah, so I mean, it's cool that Nintendo is doing something to address it. I wish they'd just not be so quiet about it. I wish they would just out and out admit it, talk about it, and put something together to make people feel better about it. Because I can't imagine, like, if you're not someone like us that follows gaming news and you have this problem, I wonder how many people have just been like, well, shit, I can't use my Joy-Con anymore, and those Joy-Con are either in the trash or just sitting in a drawer collecting dust because they don't think Nintendo will help them.
Right.
Which, I mean, Nintendo would, but, not everybody that buys a Switch hops on YouTube and watches GVG talk about it for 20 minutes. So
Exactly.
But they should.
they
Yeah,
should, because they could win a free Switch, and that would solve their drift problem too.
Nice. I love it. Love it.
Anyway, I know why we're all here today. And now it is finally the time. The moment you could say we've all been dreading.
Nice.
That's right, motherfuckers. Metroid Dread is finally out, and I can't wait to talk about it. I'm practically shaking with excitement at this point.
We've only had to wait 16 years. That's not that long, right?
Nope.
I have
Only
been
16 years.
holding this in
That was
for
11.
so long. I love that shirt, man.
That is really good.
Yeah, that shirt's awesome. I do love that. And like when I went to pick it up today, I had a moment where I was just like, wow, I am holding Metroid frickin' Dread in my hands. And this was 16 years ago. This was, technically revealed, and then it just never materialized. And now it's here. And I posted this on Twitter too, but it's here 3 days after Sora got announced for Smash. This is the best timeline, the best week.
What a time.
I can't believe those
Right.
things happened in the same week.
And
Gallop.
Adam,
Incredible.
real quick, Adam Blake, no spoilers. We are not going to be spoiling. I'm not going to
No.
not even mentioning anything that's been shown in the trailer. I'm going to keep things general.
Yeah, we're just
not
gonna
even
give
far
our
enough to have
general
spoilers.
feelings about the game. We're not going to talk about what happens. We're not going to talk about anything.
I will say, before anything else, how far has each of us played? Ash, how much have you gotten a chance to play yet?
I'm pretty sure I'm the least far out of all of us because I had some work to do this afternoon. So I'm basically in the area with the second Emmy, but I haven't
How many?
gone further than that yet.
Okay, so about
Like
30
an
minutes, it
hour.
sounds.
Yeah, like an hour, including the opening cutscenes, I would say.
Yeah, I would say I hit the first boss, but I'm honestly not certain it's a boss. It looks like a boss, but I literally got into the room.
Was
saw
it
and I
shown
like,
during the
that might-
treehouse?
I don't know. I didn't watch the treehouse.
Oh, I think I know what boss
that's-
you're talking
well,
about.
that's fair.
I think I know what you're talking about. Okay.
Because the one
Yeah.
shown during the treehouse is the
I will.
is the
You know what I
first
can
boss.
say? You enter an Emmy location, and it shows this creature, and I thought that I was going to fight it right then, and then like you keep going through the Emmy area, and then it shows another small cutscene with that same thing.
Oh, I know
and
where
then
you
like
are.
2 rooms over, you finally find it, and it's like the center of the room, and I'm 90% certain it's a boss.
I think yeah.
Okay.
But I literally got in the room and I was like, oh, it's time for TNT. So I had to turn off my Switch.
What about you, Daniel?
I'm in the second like area like of after you fight the I'm looking to take down the third Emmy essentially. So I just got to that next area after what are the worlds called? I'm like losing track already.
Oh, the second area I believe is Kateria.
Kateria, yeah, I got there like not too long ago, so I've been exploring there. That's pretty much where I am right now. So a fair ways in so far.
Okay, Brandon.
I am 2 major boss fights deep. I'm getting ready to defeat my 4th Emmy.
That's that's basically where I'm at right now. I'm about 3 hours in. I've defeated 3 Emmys, and I've just reached the 4th area. But
okay,
you guys are zooming.
Yeah, you and I are basically in the same spot.
Yeah,
today was a very good Metroid day for me. I managed to.
Oh, I want those.
I managed to find these. I was I got a tip that GameStop just had them in store. And my local GameStop, like the one right near me, didn't have them, but the one like a mile away from it did. And they also had this guy, which I had never gotten before.
Oh, right. Oh, nice.
Got the whole theme.
I finally completed my Metroid amiibo collection. Ridley was the only one I didn't have.
Oh, wow.
My GameStop was swimming in Metroid Dread amiibo. I was shocked at how many they had on the shelf.
That's what I heard
from
from
like
some
you
people.
Too. Yeah.
This was like 3 or 4 hours after open. Like they were not having issues.
Man, I need to go cancel my pre-order because I went to Walmart and got it even earlier. So
my pre-order got delayed until Sunday, I think. I'm gonna have the game done by then. I know that.
Yeah,
nice.
Then you'll use it.
I mean, I'm gonna be definitely playing a lot after tonight, because I want to have. The thing is, I'm the one doing the review, and I want to have this review up ASAP. And even if I wasn't doing the review, I'd just be playing this like crazy, you know?
I'm the one editing the review, and I want to be done at the same time so I can just look through footage freely without worry.
Yep, exactly. And I don't blame you because, boy, hitting that moment in that everybody complained about as a spoiler, God, I wish that hadn't been spoiled.
Oh my god.
Because it's handled so perfectly.
It's so good.
That's really a shame that they chose to spoil that particular moment. Yeah,
it
is
a
shame, but
so perfectly done. But I guess just based on playtime again, Ash, how are you feeling about it? Like, what are your first impressions so far?
I mean, I'm having a great time. It's it's exactly what I wanted it to be. It's exactly pretty much what I expected it to be, given all the pre-release coverage. You know, it's Samus's movement is so sleek and so smooth. Oh, yeah. She feels so good to control, but it's even better now in 60 FPS in high definition than it was back in Samus Returns on the 3DS. And I like Samus Returns, and I love the way, you know, her free aim movement. I love the way she moves in that game, but it all just comes together here in Dread with the, you know, 1080p 60 FPS. It feels great. I will say I do wish there was a bit more. I wish there was a bit more rumble utilized. I would like to feel the you know, like the pitter patter of Samus's steps or interacting with things, or just even her arm cannon or something, just like a little kickback there. There's a little bit of HD rumble and cutscenes and such, but I'm also a big fan of haptic feedback though. Like it adds a lot in my opinion, and that's not necessarily true for everyone, and that's okay. But what's there is cool, but it's just very slight. And the only other thing I want to say, I was thinking about this earlier, and you all are going to make fun of me, and this is not actually a criticism. I would not actually like dock the game for this in a review, but God, I wish I could slide by just holding down and pressing the jump button. I wish because Samus' slide, it's literally just Mega Man slide, but I don't like pressing L2 to do it. I want to be able to just hold down and press jump. I'm sorry, I said it. I wouldn't actually criticize the game for that. You know, man, I wish that was an option.
I personally think it feels pretty because I really like the ZL for the slide because
I do too.
Booking it,
Very
like I
natural.
feel like when you're booking it and you're trying to get away from an Emmy or something, having to push down would like break your stride, or there's a higher chance you'd screw it up. And so I'm pretty grateful that there's like that dedicated slide button and that it's like out of the way.
It does. And I'm not like actually complaining. It's and as people in our live audio chat are pointing out, Mega Man isn't Metroid. It's fine. But I'm like, I keep fumbling because I'm like, wait, slide. Oh, it's ZL. Oh, I can't just But
it's that muscle memory.
Mega Man can also do it from standing still, and that's not necessarily
that's true. And Samus can't.
Yeah.
So it's a different mechanic. But yeah. So that's really the only other thing I would say. But honest, I'm loving it, and I cannot wait to get back to playing more of it. It's the weekend. I'm excited to be able to really devour this game, and I doubt I'll have it finished by the end of the weekend, but I'm going to try to play as much as I can of it.
I'm glad you said that because Late Night Sprites a little while ago with a $5 super chat said, all I will say is Dread gives me great vibes. Enjoying this and Monkey Ball a lot. Got a pizza, bringing these two games, binging these two games all weekend. GVG is awesome. You're awesome. And you also just inspired me to do exactly that. I'm definitely ordering a pizza for dinner.
Pizza sounds good.
Playing Metroid.
Oh, wow.
See, Steve, this
Pizza
is why Daniel would beat us in a fight. We're sitting on our asses playing Metroid. Eating pizza.
I know he's probably doing one finger push-ups while playing Metroid.
Exactly.
Well, since you're the next the next one up that hasn't made it quite as far as Steve, how's your general feeling on Dread been so far?
Yeah, so it's really good. So one thing I want to mention, because for me, in my mind, like I probably associate Metroid most strongly with Super Metroid. That's like the game that the image of that game conjures in my mind when I think of this franchise. And there are so many little nods to Super Metroid from an iconography standpoint in this game. Like when the menu font looks just like the Super Metroid menu font, and I love that. The suit screen, the map screen, they all look like they just recreated Super Metroid, man. And I love that. Like it feels like coming home. And I have to say the Samus's weight and the impact of her counters, it's just perfect. It like feels exactly right. Like I did the wall jump and it was just instinctive. Like it just worked exactly the way I figured it would. Charging the arm cannon, everything. Like the only thing that I slipped up on a little bit, because again, like it was new to Samus Returns and I didn't finish Samus Returns, was the L button aiming, right? I was just like, I'm not used to this fully, but it was very quick. And I feel like the timing for the counters is pretty forgiving, at least initially, like in the beginning. And so it feels really satisfying when you pull it off, like, because you get that like instantly charged shot that you can just take someone out with really easily. Like, I don't know what the enemy is called, but it's like that giant crab looking one. It's a common enemy. It's a normal one.
Yeah.
But like when you take one of those out, you feel like a badass. The Emmy encounters are also like appropriately terrifying. Like I was playing and I was sitting right here where I play, because I had just finished prepping the show and I was like, all right, I have like 45 minutes. So I'm just going to play all the way through till when the show starts. And I was leaning back in my chair looking at the TV here, and every encounter I had with an Emmy, I was just like, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. Like I could feel my heart rate.
They are very good at making you feel like just gotta go, because they are just so relentless. And probably my favorite part with an Emmy so far is trying to take down the second one, where they introduce the mechanic of the secondary function for the gun that you have to use in order to fully take it down.
The Omega.
The Omega gun, which they did not show before. It's like that's how you take down the non-damaged Emmys, unlike the first one that they showed in the treehouse and the trailers and whatnot. So I took care of that first part. Had to run off because I was out of space and I needed a nice long hallway. So I went up and around, and it was like, all right, it's going to follow me up and around. I'm waiting for it to come out of that door. All of a sudden get attacked from behind. The freaking thing went backwards and attacked me from behind. I had no idea what was coming. Because all of a sudden it's like there and got me. It is like, that's some good AI. I like that. Yep. It actually tricked me.
Smart.
They're legitimately aggressive and smart. Like I've died so many times.
Oh God, yeah.
Already.
I've
go ahead.
I think the most times I've died, funny enough, is just me being in the area. Okay, it's safe. I go through the door. Hello, there it is, and it just kills me right there.
God,
It was
the way to
waiting
go.
for me, like it was waiting for me or something.
The first Emmy, or like the tutorial Emmy, where they basically just hand you the Omega Cannon. I grabbed the Omega Cannon and I walked out to the left, and I'm like, I don't see it anywhere, so I started going through the door, and it spawned through the door while I walked through it, and it auto killed me.
That happened to me too.
Yeah.
I didn't know that could happen. That's so cool.
Have any of you successfully countered an enemy yet?
I've done it twice so far.
Yes, I've got it twice so far. That's about it because that timing is rough.
It's
I have
kind of
not
cool.
yet. I haven't gotten caught by one yet.
I think there are variations in how the Emmy will strike,
There are.
and it's
There are, yeah.
randomized, so you can't just do the same timing every time.
Well, I noticed that sometimes you can get 2 separate windows to counter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It'll have a flash. It's just the timing of that flash that you got to predict, and that's the thing that I feel like it has a bit of variation to it.
She'll either like counter with her arm cannon, or if you're too late, she'll try to kick herself free. Which is really upsetting when you're trying to kick yourself free to no avail and you just die anyway.
I know, you see your foot go out and you're like, nope, nothing. And then you're dead.
Guess I'll die.
Yeah. I don't want to tell people how it is an Emmy kills you, but it is really unsettling to think about. Like when you realize how it is they kill you, you're like, oh God.
Well, I mean, do you mean more above and beyond what they've already shown us?
Again,
Well, I remember
was
Steve not watched
mostly
as
that one
much,
death.
so
Yeah, I was
Oh,
full on media blackout mode, so
That's
I couldn't
true.
tell you
Mhm.
what they showed. But for me, somebody who didn't see it before, I saw it for the first time today, and I was like, oh, that's gruesome.
Oh, okay.
Like that.
What
mm,
did you guys think of the opening cutscenes? I thought those were surprisingly beautiful. Like,
Oh, God, yeah,
actual
they were-
art pieces.
they were gorgeous, and I love how even though it felt like they kind of spoiled things in the trailers regarding the opening cutscene, they really didn't. There's a real sense of mystery.
Yeah, I was
that
about to say the
opening.
mystery they
Show them.
build in the opening cutscene is so compelling.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
makes me want to know. Like, I thought from all the trailers that people would kind of basically have the story beats down, and definitely not. Nintendo held some stuff back, and it's good stuff. So I'm really
I have in
excited
my
to
head,
unravel it.
I definitely have in my head what like a theory of what I think could be going on. I'm
Me
not going to
too.
say it because I don't want to color anyone's expectations, but I do have at least one overall theory of what is of how this is all going to play out. I have no idea how close to right I am. I might completely
I bet
off,
you and
but
I
I'm
have the
curious to
same
see.
theory. I bet we do.
You think so? Okay, we'll
Yeah.
have to compare
Yeah.
notes.
We'll
after
talk
the
about it
I
post.
don't have
privately.
I don't
Yeah.
have a bespoke theory, but I
No,
do have
same.
an assumption based on some certain encounters that I've had. Actually, that we've all had, because it's a requirement in the first few minutes of the game. But yeah, I think I know what's going on. I'm just not for sure yet.
I'm not 100% sure yet. I've not made any guesses. A lot of times when I play a game for the first time, I don't try to predict. I'm just along for the ride. And the thing that's stuck out to me, and actually, before I get into my stuff, Daniel, we haven't let you talk too much yet about your experiences so far, like how you feeling about Dread.
All right, so you all want to buckle down. I want to talk about the design of this game a little bit. Well, first of all, you start the game off, and I like Steve said earlier, I appreciate how much of an inspiration this takes from Super Metroid. Like, you see Samus's helmet, it tilts towards the screen when you switch the file menu, and you're like, oh my god, then you know that you're in for something. But just from when you start off, like, it's so interesting to see in context, because as far as lore goes, you never really see the Chozo. Well, everyone knows about the Chozo now. You never see the Chozo in context of wearing actual armor that's fully equipped for a Chozo. You always see it in the context of Samus wearing it. So it's just things like that you never really think about that you actually see, and it's just so fascinating to see how that plays out. And like, oh yeah, right, you're from this army of warriors, not just like not just these wise men as they usually show us through lore.
Right, these elder, yeah.
But yeah, the moment that you touch the controls and you move Samus around, it feels so right. When you move around, when you jump, when you aim, everything feels so fluid and so like well done, and I'm still discovering new animations for that Samus does. Like when you slide, you can still shoot while you're sliding. When you slide, if you do a melee counter, she does a cartwheel. It's like she flips upward. Like there's so many little like mechanics and things that go into this, and it's so solid.
If there's a block that's just one spot in front above, you don't have to jump. She'll just pop over.
She'll pop over it. Yeah. Things like that, where it feels like there's just so much more immersion and the character in context of the world. And yeah, it just kind of builds off what we experienced in Samus Returns, because Mercury Steam kind of like built what they had and went forward with it. And now you have it like in an actual controller, like you're not holding it in a handheld. You can actually, it feels a little more tactile, and it just feels better overall. And yeah, just the design of it, it's so unnerving, like in a good way. Like when you think about the kind of like horror aspects that Metroid has, you think about Metroid Fusion, and like the SAX. But in reality, you don't really do as much. It's not very active. It's always, you're just kind of trying to hide from them whenever they appear. And here in this game, you're actively running away for your dear life, because there's always something that's just kind of hunting you down, and you feel like
it doesn't feel like a canned sequence like Fusion.
Yeah, you feel like the actual, now you're the hunted and not the hunter in these situations. And like whenever you're in an enemy zone, there's like a grain filter that's on the screen. It becomes darker. There's like a more of a silhouette that's going on.
Yeah.
When the enemy is close, your controller shakes like it's a heartbeat almost. Just all these little touches that make for an experience that like I think a lot of people were really wanting from Metroid. I think a lot of the expectations from this game so far have been being met, and man,
it feels like it,
or even surpassed.
That too, definitely.
The thing is, it doesn't feel like it at first, but as you go on, it's like from the first boss to later enemy encounters to the second boss, this game has teeth. I have died a lot in this game.
Yeah.
It is, but it doesn't feel super punishing because the checkpoints are really forgiving. So you're back in the action. Oh yeah,
I expect you probably to die.
Yeah,
you are back
in the action.
Got the Metroid Dread hype police coming.
Yeah, exactly. They can shut up. It's really well done. I think the game balance is like tough, but not impossible. And I think that's a great thing, because a lot of people complain about Nintendo games being a little too easy, not too much like that. This one has like, I don't find it impossible, but it is a lot of fun. You'll probably die a lot, but if you stick with it, you will beat this game. That's the thing.
It's
you can think of
interesting, because they're not overwhelming you with enemies. They're really like focusing on those encounters with the enemies themselves being like the primary way that you're going to find yourself dying a lot.
Yeah.
Because I've only died like outside of enemies maybe 2 or 3 times, and half the time it's just because I'm dumb.
My timing got off, and the enemies do hit you pretty hard. I will say that
they do. But I think you're right on it. I think it strikes a nice balance that they haven't hit before. I'm actually already excited to go back through a second time and see how much better I can do.
Oh god, yeah. This is meant for replaying. And I will say that one other thing about this, my favorite thing about this game by far up to this point is it has one of the best sense of flows to a Metroidvania that I've ever encountered. The way it just seamlessly goes from stage to area, showing what areas do, kind of showing how they're interconnected, showing how they you kind of go about this, because it caught me off guard in the opening area. Just how quickly you get to the second area. I'm like, there's so much more of this. I'm not used to this, that there's so much left of this first map. And then you get later in the game and you find ways that you go back, or you'll have this small section in the next map that you can't progress past, but it gets you just enough of an upgrade that you can go back to the previous area, not too far away, and continue from a new spot. Now you can go anywhere you want. You can explore and do all that. But if you kind of find your way there, find your way around, you can keep yourself in a nice flow, and you don't feel like you're backtracking, but you're not really backtracking. You're seeing new things as you're backtracking, and I'm loving the just sense of like bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
You're just always in a new place, and it feels so satisfying.
I want to go back really quick to something you said,
oops.
Daniel, that I really, really agree with, and that is the fact that there is a more overt horror vibe in this game. You know, Metroid's always been known for being atmospheric, and then Fusion came along and definitely dialed up the horror element with the SAX and just the sense of isolationism on on the space station. But Dread almost feels like a straight up horror game a lot of the time, and a lot of that is down to the frankly fantastic sound design so far. I haven't gotten long enough into the game to really comment on the music very much, but just the environmental sound design. This game is scary, and I made sure to play through like the first however long I have with my my new, I got PS5 Pulse headphones. I just got a new set, and so I played with those. And that is the way to playing with headphones seems to be the way to play this game, period. And I'm almost glad I didn't play more already, because I was in a brightly lit room and it was cool with the headphones. But I'm like, you know what? This is a game I want to really play the most of that I can at night. No, no distractions, not a lot of light, in the dark with my headphones on. This game is scary, and I want to just double down on how overt this game's horror vibes are. And I got to say, that's one of my favorite things about it. This feels like a horror Metroid game, or a Metroid horror game. And I just think that's so cool.
Yeah, I think there's an
Know
actual.
if any of you... go ahead, Daniel.
Oh, sorry. I think there was an actual like post on the Nintendo featured news channel that was suggesting you to do just that. You should play it in the dark. You should play it with headphones. You should do this and that to kind of immerse yourself into that world. Because I think this world definitely deserves it. There's so much to see and hear and feel. Just the fact that when you're in the Emmy rooms, you can hear them walking around. You hear the beeping, and you suddenly your heart rate just goes up, and you're just like, oh my god, I need to get moving. And just it's so immersive in that way, and that's what I love about this so much.
Yep. I find it really funny, by the way. I'm sorry, Brandon. Go, please.
One thing I found really surprising, I don't know if any of you have experienced this, but I had an enemy, not an Emmy, but like just a regular minion, at the entrance of a door. I walked through the door as it shot a projectile, and the projectile followed me into the other room. Like,
oh wow,
the screen.
Did it?
That does not surprise me, because it doesn't seem like these are separated rooms, like they have to load into each other.
Yeah.
Thanks to when you fight the Emmys, because you can go through a door and you can look through the other side and see the other area and see them coming towards you. So
it was just really surprising, but a nice touch.
It's really cool.
Just talking about it making me want to go and play it right now. And also, I want to thank various people in our chat, both chats, for reminding me that I still need to go get the Metroid Dread Spirits and Smash. I completely forgot that happened.
Yeah,
that's out today, so I got to go do that tonight too. Thank you for the reminder.
Nice.
And here's hoping those Spirit events continue. I'm so glad they're doing them still.
That is pretty awesome. I wanted to read out a couple super chats because they were relevant to the discussion right now. Yoshi with an Australian $5 super chat said, Metroid's been out for a day and a half in Australia now. Yeah, I know. That burns me every time.
Oh, Australia.
And then he says, Emmys are actually, or they say Emmys are actually terrifying. These things give me anxiety. So satisfying to destroy them. And I got to say, I
is satisfying.
But holy hell, do I ever agree. Like I was saying earlier, I feel my blood pressure rise when I'm in a room with an Emmy. I'm like, I got to get out of here. I don't want to spoil it, but there was one room that was an Emmy location that had a puzzle in it, like a very simple one, but a puzzle nonetheless. And I was like, what do you mean I have to solve a puzzle? Like, I just need to get out of here.
There's like a place where you
do things.
Yeah.
There's like a place where you like have to wait, and you're just like, come on.
Yeah.
That's mean.
I don't have time for this.
I don't have the fortitude for this, is more like it.
I know. I was curious to how you were going to feel about that, Steve, when you played it, because I know you are a self-admitted not a fan of survival horror games and horror games in general. And so I was curious about how that more overt, scary vibe would land with you.
So far it's landing well. It's like the right balance between definitely having like an element of fear to it, but without like
it's
going too
tension. It's tension, not horror.
Yeah,
Not
that's
like,
how I would describe it. It is a sense of like extreme tension, but it isn't like out and out, like just, terrifying. Whereas I think like Resident Evil and games like that, where they intentionally like put jump scares in and sharp noises to like, with the intent of freaking you out. I think that's the difference. Is like, I'm never thinking like, oh man, I'm just going to hear like glass shatter and a friggin' scream in my headphones,
Yeah,
Right.
Games like that totally rely more on like the visceral like effect of visuals, of sound, like just seeing actual horror elements. But in this game, it's mostly just the atmosphere itself that makes you feel tense. It's not so much of like, oh, there's something with this with like freaking tentacles coming out of his head or something you'd see in Resident Evil. It's more like just the fact that there's something here stalking you quietly, and when you find it, or if it finds you, you have to run for your life. That's a horror that I can always get down with.
Yeah.
By the way,
that like smoky effect that they do on the platforms in the enemy areas, like they're really trying to set the mood.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
Yeah.
But despite the fact that you are absolutely outgunned, I love the moments they give Samus, where basically anytime she beats a boss,
Oh my god,
they give her just one of the most badass poses you can think of for that situation.
She's
I
She's
thought the one from the first boss was great. The second boss was even better.
Oh my God.
Like what she pulls off.
Yeah, it's so good.
She's like so calm and collected and calculating. It's like, oh my god, it's so
Exactly.
great.
I love how like she comes across the spoiler from the trailers, and she's just like, well, starts charging up. I'm like, yep, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, one thing I also love that's been carried over from Fusion, which is a game I loved. I've mentioned that I love Super Metroid and Fusion almost equally. And one of the things, and I'm not going to go into any actual dialogue, but one of the things I loved about Fusion is kind of the ghost in the machine type plot point with Adam. And that's carried over into Dread as well. And I just love that. I just love the concept of what, he represents at this stage in the timeline. And so I don't know what happens. I don't know if there's anything that happens in Dread specifically pertaining to that. Just in a general sense, I love that they're carrying forward that ghost in the machine type of thing with Adam. And
it's a great idea.
It's really cool.
It's a great idea in how he furthers the plot, but doesn't direct you where to go. It's like, okay, there's this thing in here. I don't know where it is, but I know a general like direction. Go that direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No granting Samus permission to turn on abilities this time.
Right.
Never again, hopefully.
He also helps set the mood because like he didn't want you to go there. He's
no,
like, this is a bad idea.
Well, hey guys, maybe let's not talk too much about that. I think
that's a good point.
We're veering into story territory, and I really don't want, people might not have this game yet, so.
Sure.
Sorry, I didn't mean to like jump in and be like, shut up.
No.
No. Just so you know, what we were talking about happens in the opening, though. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's the opening.
Happens literally
it's
in the
very
opening
of the game. I just, I know a lot of folks are hyped for this, and for
for
whatever
the
reason,
big thing to take away from Adam is he's not directing you to he's not like Other M where he's limiting your options, and it's not like Fusion where it's like go to this specific point. It's hey, here's what's happening right now. We should probably go this direction.
It's a gentle nudge.
And it's like go east, go north, go up, go this way. Yeah. Not even like go to this point and it's highlighted on the map. You might get lost. You could easily get lost.
True.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. So far I've gotten lost once so far, and I think it's all right. But let's see. Real quick, I want to read out a couple more super chats that we got that are all kind of germane to what we're talking about. Well, two of them are. One of them is from someone brand new, and I like to call out, new super chatters amongst our ranks. Wolverale 12, which is a name I don't think I've ever seen before.
Yeah.
With a $2 super chat, just says, Hey guys, big fans of you and John, enjoying Aria right now. I assume that's Aria of Sorrow.
Yes, and that's another fantastic Metroidvania.
Yeah,
really good one.
Putting the Vania in Metroidvania.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the super chat, and it's good to see you around. I hope you stick around. Whether you super chat or not. Jared Helder again, who just became a patron. Thank you so much. With a Canadian $2 super chat, says, "How precise do you need to be? I need funky Samus." And I'm going to assume you're talking about counters. Which I would say, like your typical counter, you don't really need to be wildly precise, at least in the beginning. it feels pretty forgiving.
I noticed, like, I was actually waiting too long. So. Yeah, I was actually waiting too long for a lot of my counters, and then I was like, started jumping the gun a bit more. I was like, oh, okay, this works.
Nice. Yeah. So
That's
yeah,
it. I am.
Go ahead. Sorry,
Steve.
Ash.
I was gonna say I am down to see Samus go all Funky Kong mode and wear shades and have a tied back bandana. Like, I'm totally down with that.
That would be super funny.
Yeah.
And finally, our good friend and longtime executive producer Vedran Hotek with a $2 super chat says Nintendo fixing to buy Mercury Steam after this, and I gotta say that would be a smart move.
I've been a fan of Mercury Steam ever since Lords of Shadow. Like, I've seen something in this developer. They've always kind of impressed me. The biggest weakness, at least with the Lords of Shadow games, was that they had a very slow beginning that didn't really pick up. But as soon as they hit their stride, there was always a point in the game where they hit their stride and they showed all their cards. Like, oh, this is actually really cool and really fun. And thankfully, with Samus Returns and Dread, they've seemed to finally learn from that. It's like, okay, here's how to get the good stuff right away and make it feel fun the entire way through.
Yeah, and they understand, Mercury Steam understands Metroid, and they understand Samus from what I've seen.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
So real quick, let's just go around before we end the show tonight and probably continue this discussion well into the post show. How's everybody feeling? Like, if you had to, let's just say if you had to score it right now, based on your first initial play, where would this land for you? I'll start with you, Derek, since you're our resident expert. Also, since you're the one that will finally score it.
I mean, I'm like thinking back, and I have no complaints. Like, I can't think of a single thing to really complain about. It is just been pure fun. I've been dying to play it all day. Like, when I'm not playing it, it's just like, I want to get back to it. It's a pure bliss right now. This is definitely a Game of the Year kind of like challenger, because it just so tightly designed.
Nice.
Yeah. How about you, Ash? Where are you at?
Well, I can't hold down and press jump to slide, so pure misery for me, man. I'm just kidding, of course. No, I'm gonna say great vibes only because I've barely played an hour, so I literally don't think I played enough to possibly make any sort of conclusion that it's a pure bliss for me yet.
I mean, you're still kind of into stuff that they showed off during the treehouse, and I know, like, when I was playing that section, I'm like, this is cool, but I've seen this before. Once I got to the new stuff and I was experiencing it, that's when it took off.
It's easily great vibes for me already so far, just from the first hour. I cannot wait to get back to this game. We need to finish this discussion, so I can't wait to play more of this game. I really can.
Nice. How about you, Daniel? Where are you at?
I am definitely at a great vibes that's teetering on pure bliss right now as far as what I've seen so far. I definitely see one game that's going to be on everyone's top 5 end of the year game of the year discussion when we get to that. but yeah, this has been such a great experience so far. I'm going to get right back into it as soon as I can this weekend. And yeah, I can see myself just keep playing this over and over. I got other games to get to, but Metroid beckons, and I'm so happy that this game is out. The galaxy is at peace.
Nice. Brandon, where are you at? How are you feeling about Dread so far?
I think I'm echoing Daniel's thoughts. I am great vibes, very close to falling right into pure bliss. It's just hard for me to say until the credits roll. But if it's as good as it is right now, all the way through the end, that's an easy pure bliss for me.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I would say that I'm definitely closer to probably Ash in my opinions right now. It's too early for me to tell. I'm like, a little over a half hour in, but I will say that it hit some really great beats for me. Like, I'm already looking at things as I'm running through the environment and saying, oh, I'm definitely going to have to come back here later. Oh, if when I get the morph ball, which I assume is in the game, I have no idea. I see blue walls and I'm like, I can't get that. I need a power up for that. I love that feeling of like seeing things and knowing I'm going to be back here later and there's some cool stuff waiting for me. But for now, I got to just push through with the limited power I have and take on the challenges I can take on. And that is something that I think Nintendo does uniquely well with Metroid. While so many games, imitate this, that there's a whole genre around it, I feel like having an actual Metroid game, to fall back on after all these years, reminds me that why it's called Metroidvania and not something else. So I would say it's a very strong Great Vibes, and I would say that, if it gets better than where it's at right now, I could definitely see myself also giving it a Pure Bliss, but I got to see. I'm too early.
It does.
I
You get to
believe
my
you,
point.
man.
I think you'll start to change.
Yeah, trust me.
Good.
My as one of our super chatters mentioned, I apologize, I don't have the name at the front of my mind right now. I am getting done with the show tonight. I'm ordering a pizza, and I am
Oh,
chilling
yeah.
with some Metroid for as long as my body will hold out. So, all right, before we don't normally do this, but there's no guest to ask where they're going to be. Everyone here is on GVG. You know where we are. So I want to take this moment to ask you guys in the audience a question. As I mentioned at the top of the show, what we did with Super Chats tonight was very much an experiment. It's not set in stone yet. So if you could do us a huge favor in the chat, drop a message to let us know what you thought of it. Did it work? Did it not work? That's your Super Chat alert example up there. And let me know what you thought. Did it help the pacing of the show? If you did Super Chat, did it discourage you from doing it again? Did you like it? None of this is permanent yet. So we want to make sure that the steps we're taking to help are helping. So, yeah, let us know what you thought. And I do have one now that we're not talking about anything. T Zilla with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. I just popped up on screen there. Says, hey guys, huge fan of TNT. Currently listening while at work. Just wondering what's been your favorite out of all the new games on Switch. I've really been enjoying Monkey Ball Banana Mania. Man,
Nice.
Switch fans been eating. So I got
yeah.
No More Heroes 3, Monkey Ball, Metroid Dread,
WarioWare. Yeah, WarioWare.
Yeah, it's been
We
a
got
great
Pokemon
time,
and
but
SMT5 coming.
yeah, I'm gonna say though, of the current crop, even though I'm only 30 minutes in, it's Dread. It's absolutely Dread.
Right. I mean, I reviewed Banana Mania and really enjoyed it. As if you saw my review, I gave it a great vibes. I think it's really fun. I like it a lot. Metroid Dread's already though really vying for that spot of my favorite new game on Switch. But I do want to give this chance to shout out my usual amount of love for Cruisin' Blast. Please play this game, everybody. Please buy this game, play this game.
I feel
it is
so
the purest ass arcade racer you will play in years, probably. And I love it. If you're not into arcade racers, it's not for you. I get that. It's cool. If you need online play, not for you. Fine. I don't, and I do love arcade racers. This game's awesome, and I just want to throw out some love for Cruisin' Blast.
nice. Yeah, I feel like Cruisin' Blast was sent out to die, and I hate that about it.
I know.
Yeah.
It's just I bought it and I have
Yeah.
it and I haven't played it. And I will eventually.
It came out at a bad time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really did. Brian Rivera with a $1.99 super chat just says, just ordered my special edition / amiibo. What a pain. Yeah, I imagine that was difficult. So
Well.
I'm glad you got them though. So I feel like just reading through the chat here on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for your responses. Everybody's kind of saying, they like it. It's much better. It helped the flow of the show. They think it definitely worked. They like the design of the box. Thought the format was a lot better. I'm getting a lot of really positive feedback.
The big criticism I'm saying is that it needs to be on the screen longer, and it needs the font needs to be bigger.
Yes, I was going to say, and
Yeah,
that
the
is
font be
something I
white as
brought
well.
up. Was that I felt like if you're watching on a phone or a small screen, it might be difficult. So we are going to see if we can, this is our first pass. So we'll keep trying this and try to refine it further. But I think it was a great first attempt. So yeah, some
Tostios-
folks. Oh, go ahead.
Tostios has a good concern here, saying, my only worry is that it feels like there's no way to communicate with you guys during the stream with Discord not having your full attention either. I mean, and that is true. What I can say is that we all are typically watching live. Well, maybe other than the host, because the host has a lot more to do. But typically, the rest of us are watching the live audience patron chat and the YouTube chat for anything we want to call out. But of course, if we read out too much, then the show just goes on forever anyway. But we are paying attention. Like, we're not just ignoring the chats or anything. So, if you want to get our attention, tag us for sure in Discord. We can't guarantee that'll mean that what you're saying gets read out, but we are watching. and we are paying attention. So
Yeah.
don't worry about that.
This one, we ended up, I wanted to make this episode just about Dread and to talk for the whole hour. But we ended up having an actual full slate of news stories. So I had to push through the news to get to this short discussion about Dread. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And we do need to actually wrap up this episode. So I want to say thank you to everybody for watching. Thank you for providing us with your feedback. We're going to keep working on super chats to hopefully find something that makes at least most of the people happy. And I feel like we're on the right track. But we're gonna keep an eye on it and see what we can do. Stay tuned for the next episode on Monday, where we'll probably have some tweaks to this formula. But at least it kept the news going. So I appreciate everybody for hanging out. That does, however, bring us to the end of tonight's episode. As you all know, that means normally we'd talk to our guests, ask them where they're from, what they're doing, where you can find them. But you can find everybody on tonight's episode right here at youtube.com/GVG official. If you're listening on podcast services around the globe, that is anchor.fm/GVG. You can find today's news tonight right there. Subscribe on either service. We love you so much. And we have to give a special thank you. I totally stumbled over my words there because I don't ever say that. But we have to give a thank you to everybody for participating in tonight's episode, especially for our patrons. You can find out more about us at patreon.com/GVGaming. But we have to give a special thank you to our patrons at the producer tier and above. You guys make this show happen. We couldn't do this 3 nights a week without your support. It means the world to us. And we're grateful that you're willing to sit here and listen to us talk about Metroid at random intervals for as long as we do. But we have to give an extra special thank you to our folks in the executive producer tier and above. And those fine folks include none other than Brandon Bovia, Rob Arman X, Fangs, Dan and Twistle, Z Patty, Hyrule Hermit, Sky Blue Flames, Adam O'Sullivan, Octo Puppet, Richard Herrera, Michael Phone, The D-Pad, Vesmio, Waffle King, Roman Klaczynski, sorry, we redid the list, Critter XD, Kitty Kong Facts, Angel Martinez, Vedran Hotik, Joshua Hunter, Evernight Studio, Benny Yao, Azran127, Black King, Pagrema, Geller, Joseph Rutkin, Titus Malvolio, Kiki Griffin, Lucky Wonderfish, Kyle, Top Dog 23100, Young Ben Kenobi, Doug Shomix, Andrew Medeiros, Orem M, Sakuragi, Becca, Killamox, Fizzywig Hoyd, The Legend of Groose, Eddie B. Our credits just cut off. I apologize, folks. Eddie B, Kayed, Kit Fisto, Kenneth Lee Stingle, Deaneth, Kota, Sci-Fi Lullabies, Michael McCaw, Matthew Long, Goron Amber, Straight Lace, Justin Matthews, Hoobie, Too Much Spaghetti, Mega Conrad, Ascaron 809, Kane, Ditto M, Captain Finlandia, 60 Minutes and 60 Seconds, Spicy Pandotter, The Game Orb, Dano the Artist, Super Gamer Dude 101, Grantles, Ravelox, Synchro Lord, my mom. Hi, Mom. Kotar Peck, Scuff 196, Kane Woolley, Skull Kid Tiger, Dark Steel 01, Blizzica, Jason Uloa, Jaden Buck, Phantom Project, Cystic Warrior 29, DJ Jursic, Super Dank Awesome Unicorn Guy, Dinner Sonic, Darik, Chibi J, Stag Nasty, Mumbling Yeti, Cameron Sharp, Screamo Shaman, Mason Riley, Keel, Santi the Person, Brandon Hesse, Hustlebun, Noah Fitterer, David Howard, and finally, Rizemon. Woo! And remember that you too can become a patron over at patreon.com/GVGaming. We have all kinds of different tiers for you to check out, but even just heading over to the page, seeing what we have to offer would help us out a ton. But if you're unable to support us on Patreon and you're just here on YouTube, you like, subscribe, get yourself into the drawing to win a Switch OLED at 75K. We appreciate you so much. Thank you guys for joining us for tonight for episode 144 of Today's News Tonight. We will see you again for the next episode on Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here at YouTube or wherever it is you like to catch us. But until next time, guys, good night and good vibes.
Night, everyone.
Bye,
So if we
everyone.
meet again.
Bye, everybody.